lowest all-time approval rating, with just 1 in 10 Americans believing the legislature is doing a good job, and the majority believing partisan bickering is holding up progress. A study this year from the Center on Congress at Indiana University revealed that Americans think their congressional representatives are increasingly uncivil. If the voters send you back to Washington, on what specific issues will you reach across the aisle to move things along?
Well, thank you for that question, and I have to say that as I saw this seed in 2007, I saw it because I wanted to make a difference in Washington. And I also want to go to Washington and bring a tone that allowed me to do that. So over these years that I have served for 5 years now, as I seek again re-election, I have been able to make real progress on a number of issues. I serve on the House Armed Services Committee. My father was an officer in the Air Force. He survived Pearl Harbor. I lived on bases all across this country. I sought out the Armed Services Committee, where, number one, I discovered that body armor for our soldiers is very protective. It's too heavy. And we've made a lot of progress on a bipartisan basis to lighten the load. I learned that the issue of sexual assault in the military was an egregious one, and have worked closely with Congressman Mike Turner from Ohio to change the culture of the military and to put in place better reform efforts so that victims can seek justice. I've worked with the small business communities in this district and learned about a very important program in the federal government that they were worried would really disadvantage them. Massachusetts is highly competitive, gets the second largest number of awards. These are platforms for growth. They will help Gardner and Fitchburg and all the communities of this district, and work again across the aisle to protect that program so it continues to work with our companies and make a difference here.
I've always said that a good idea doesn't know party affiliation, whether it's Democrat, Independent, or Republican. Now I come from outside politics, and I know by virtue of having run for this office 2 times now that I am a politician. But I'm willing to reach across the aisle to work with anyone that is willing to help get this economy growing again and start creating jobs. Now, Representative Tsongas says she wants to be bipartisan, but she votes 95% of the leadership of her party. Now, I've been asked about things that I disagree with on my party. Well, I do. There's a number of things. I wouldn't have voted for TARP. I don't believe we should bail out Wall Street while Main Street still continues to suffer. I would have voted for the Lilly Ledbetter bill. I would not have voted for the super committee either, which would have put me at odds with my party. Now, I've never been down to Washington, D.C. to vote. You're going to have to trust me on this. But I'll tell you this. Look at my campaign. Look at who I've reached out to. Politics is about addition. It's not about subtraction. And when I go down there, I'm going to recognize that my boss is in the leadership of my party. My bosses are the people here in this room and the people in this district who voted for me or didn't vote for me. And I'm going to listen to them. And I'm going to take their direction from them. And if I don't do the job that they want, then they can vote me out. Thank you.
And I can tell you, no one tells me how to vote. I make every decision based on what I think is in the best interest of my community and the people that I represent. Mr. Golnik has said that he would not have voted for the super committee. That means he would not have voted he would have voted to default on raising the debt limit of this country. He would have voted to end payments, Social Security payments to seniors, and he would have voted for $900 billion of cuts, necessary cuts, to move us ahead in this country so that we can bring our federal government and our federal budget back into balance. I call that ducking.
Tsongas, I disagree with the premise of your response. Just because if I voted against the super committee, that would have gone into default. You see, if we had more people like myself going down to Washington, D.C., and not people like yourself still down there who vote 95% of the time with their party, we actually could get things done down there. And I think if we had more people like myself willing to reach across the aisle, we could have come to an agreement that would have not forced us into the super committee and would have allowed us to get on with the business of growing this economy. Okay.